Okay, let's do another block, and in this one I'm going to show you some of the techniques that I use to draw a little bit faster and give myself a little less eraser work to do. So we're going to be making that block in the corner. I also have this one made as a physical block as well too, so I'll kind of refer to it a couple of times. But just like with our other one, our first step is to tape our paper down, and our second step will be to add our title block. So again, I'm going to try to keep my page towards like the middle of my board, line up the edge of the paper with the edge of my T-square as best as I can, and then tape it down. Now too, I didn't mention this in the other video, but if my big head ever gets in the way of the camera, I apologize. But sometimes I go to lean over the page and I forget that there's a camera right there. And then once I have my paper taped down, I'm just going to measure out for my title block. So I'm going to make a mark at 1/4 inch, a mark at 1/4 inch, and then I'm also, from that 1/4 inch, I'm just going to make a mark up, so at 3/4 of an inch or just a 1/2 inch up from that, to help me make my title block a little bit faster. And then 1/4 inch in, 1/4 inch in. So kind of one less time that I have to use my ruler to make a measurement. So it just makes it a little bit faster to do the title block. And again, anytime I'm using my tools, I'm always making sure they're nice and flush against the board. And my vertical tool, my triangle, is always against the T-square. Very important. And then for the different sections of my title block, I measure out at 4, 7, 9, 10 and a half. It's another thing too you can do, like what I'm doing right now with the triangle underneath the T-square. I usually typically will have it on top, but especially if maybe I've taped my paper too close to the bottom, I can use the T-square or the triangle underneath the T-square, because it allows me then to kind of have the T-square higher up and still draw some of my lines. So now I got my title block done. I'm ready to start my object. So I'm going to just pick a place in the kind of bottom left to start my front view. Guideline straight out, guideline straight up. I'll make it go a little bit further. And I'm just going to lay out what the overall length and overall height of this object is. So the overall length of the front view is 6. So I'm just going to measure out 6. And my overall height is 2. And I'll make a mark. And guideline out. Guideline up. Now what I need to do is kind of carve out in that front view these little steps here. So I need to measure out how far over this step is, which it's 3, and how far down it goes, which is 1. Now, as you get better at making these and understanding orthographics, you can make these measurements as you go. So for instance, I would have probably, when I made this 2-inch measurement, probably would have also measured where 1 was, knowing I was going to have to reference it. But I kind of want to go a little bit slower. as I work through these for you guys as I demo them. And then I'm just going to make my guide at that 3-inch mark. I didn't bring it all the way down because I know from looking at this shape that this edge stops, which will just give me a little less to erase. And the same thing here is I'll line up my T-square, but I'll just start this guideline here, because if I know that it doesn't exist over here, what's the point of me drawing it there just to have to go erase it? So I've got my front view now. I'm going to leave this guide work here for a reason, but I'm going to start my top view. Is it me or does this line not look straight? Because it's very much not. Oh my goodness, Miss Miller. Look at that. Look how wonky I made that. Oh, who hired me? There we go. It was a mistake, but look how easy it was to fix. So now I'm going to start with my top view. Again, I'll just pick an amount of space between here to start it. Guideline straight across. And then I'll measure what my overall depth is, which is 3. I'll make a mark. Guideline across. And let me just extend that up to go meet it. So now I have my front view and my top view. For my top view, I have 2 faces in total that I need to show. So I need to show this face here and this face. But because I was able to just project that guideline up, I don't actually have to go and measure that out. So I have everything for that top view. Now for the miter line, I need to take it on the front view from where the topmost and rightmost lines meet, which in this case is right up here, even though that is not on my object. So even though that is just kind of out in space on the guide work, not actually on the physical object, that would still be where I want to draw my miter line from. If I draw it from here, my entire thing is going to get skewed real wonky and be all wonky. So I'm going to do my 45-degree line out from that corner. And then this is what I meant by what I do to just make a little bit easier for erasing. So a lot of times with my front view, I don't bring those guides over all the way. And what I'll do is I'll just line my T-square up with that and then just kind of make a little mark on the 45-degree line where it hits. So that's what you'll see me do in a lot more of the other demos, because this way I don't have to go erase that whole line of guide work. And again, what I'll do then is once I find where all of the edges hit this 45-degree line, I just kind of line it up, and rather drawing the guide all the way down, I just kind of move my pencil to where my face starts and just draw the line in to just make it less work for me to erase. So I just kind of note where it meets, move my pencil down, draw the line in. And that way I've got less stuff to erase. Sometimes it takes, or it might take a little long to kind of get used to that and that technique. I've just been doing this for more years than I'd care to admit. So where'd my big eraser go? So at this point, my eye can just kind of see where things meet. It takes practice. Maybe you've already got it down. Maybe it's going to take you a little longer, and that's okay. And so now I have my front view, which shows me my length and my height, but I can't see my depth. I can't see how far back this object goes. I've got my top view, which gives me my length and my depth, but I can't see height-wise, so I can't see how tall it is on this face or this face. And I have my side view, which shows me my depth and my height, but I can't see anything related to length. So in the side view, I can see that there's this face and this face, but I can't necessarily see how far back that face is. And then the last step is we'll fill in our title block. Again, you can use your lettering guide for this, but I'm just going to freehand it. So this one, the name of this block is the end lap member. Make sure you are lettering nice and neat in all caps. Then your name. Then the date. So what day did you draw this at? The scale you drew it at. So again, we did this full size. So the scale is 1 inch on papers, 1 inch in reality, or 1:1. And then how many drawings are in the set associated with this block? So this is just drawing 1 of 1. There's only one piece of paper made for the end lap member. And there's that orthographic complete.